I know. We heard all about it. Trust me. On the last show, we had some technical difficulties. I gave a brilliant explanation of the definition of capitalism and what it is and why greed is not a part of it. And I exposed a company in Florida which is stealing from its contractors. I mean, ppsimmons, we're not about promoting greed in any form. The Bible says that love rejoices in the truth, and ppsimmons rejoices in the truth. And I was involved in a case where a company in Florida was stealing from me to the tune of over $100,000. And on the last show, I exposed that company, and because they wouldn't deal with me directly, so I went to you guys. It wasn't slander; it was real, and it really happened to me. And it was a good audio as far as the content was concerned, but the quality of the audio was horrible, and people were focused on that rather than the message. And I'll put a link to the show in this video so you can see what I'm talking about. But listen, I apologize for that. I put it up anyway because I nailed it as far as the content goes, so we used it anyway. But we had some technical difficulties there, and I'm sorry for that. But please try and look beyond that and just listen to the message. And I'll put the link on this video, and just go there, listen to the message, and I think you guys will be impressed if you can allow yourselves to go beyond the technical difficulties. There was some popping issues and some wander in the audio, and it doesn't sound good. And I apologize for that. I just wanted to open up today's show with that. But today's show, I want to talk to you guys about the North Korean thing, because is it now? ppsimmons is very concerned with how the events in the world today play out as it relates to the Bible, and what does the Bible say about current events and so on. And we make no apologies for looking at the Bible in one hand and the newspaper in the other. We make no apology for that. Jesus himself said that he commands his porters to watch and pray and to know what's going on in the world. We make no apologies for that. We've often said, that the end time is not coming, the end time is now. Well, on the blog today, there is an article posted by one of our bloggers. And this person keeps an eye out for the news as it relates to, end time prophecy. And this person has been watching the events unfolding with regard to North Korea. And people are looking at that, and we are looking at it as it relates to Daniel 11:44. Daniel 11:44 says, "But tidings out of the north, or rather out of the east and out of the north." Now, tidings, if you look that up in the dictionary, tidings are news and intelligence and information. Out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him. Trouble who? Trouble this end-time Antichrist figure, right? Therefore, he will go forth with great fury to destroy and utterly to make away many. ppsimmons has given a lot of evidence to show that Barack Obama fits this end-time Antichrist figure, though we've never actually come out and said he is that person. He is the most viable candidate today. And so we are watching events unfold as they pertain to perhaps tying connections with the man in the White House today. And we're not saying that he is. We're just saying that he fits the profile. Tidings out of the north and the east. Well, let's say Obama is this person, right? Let's say he is, just for sake of argument. He is headquartered out of Washington, D.C. Well, if you take a map, now I know if you were to fly from Washington to North Korea, you may not go east. The shorter distance would be to go west. But on a world map, on any world map, not a globe per se, but on a world map. If you go online, just Google world map. As it's laid out in front of you, Korea is to the east of Washington, D.C. All right? Therefore, he shall go forth with great fury to destroy and utterly make away out of the east, tidings out of the east and out of the north. So on a world map, Korea is out of the east. And it specifically says out of the north. So it's getting very specific now. Okay? And the headlines today are, one headline says, set for fireworks. Another says, North Korea missile test expected this week. And another says, maybe planning to disable computer networks in USA. Another says, Pentagon draws up counterpunch. China conducts military exercises near border with North Korea. Who really has power in Pyongyang? Kim Jong-un's aunt is the driving force. Putin. Nuke conflict would make Chernobyl look like fairy tale. Wow. And so we know that Chernobyl is the fulfillment of the third trumpet prophecy. The word Chernobyl actually mentioned in Bible prophecy, which is actually stunning when you think about that. And people are looking at that saying, well, wait a minute. What about the preceding verses? And we had a guy message us today and saying, okay, I see the possible connection between North Korea and the tidings, Daniel 11:44. But what about the preceding verses? Well, let's look at it. Let's start with Daniel 11:41. It says, he shall enter into the glorious land, and many countries shall be overthrown. The glorious land being the Middle East, where is the cradle of the world. It's where humanity had its genesis, in the Iraqi Euphrates area. And he shall enter into the glorious land, and many countries shall be overthrown. Well, what do we see happening with the Middle East, with Egypt and Libya? These countries were overthrown by the support from the Western world, Obama in particular. And now we have the Muslim Brotherhood being an organization that has actually taken over the White House, essentially. We have evidence of that. Barack Obama, very friendly with the Muslim Brotherhood. And now it says here in verse 41, he shall enter into the glorious land, and many countries shall be overthrown, but these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom and Moab, the chief of the children of Ammon. So some countries will not be overthrown. And he shall stretch his hand also upon the countries. Now, the countries that were overthrown began with Tunisia, right? Libya, Egypt. In fact, it says many countries. And then it also says Egypt shall not escape. Did Egypt escape? No. Egypt was overthrown and taken over by the Muslim Brotherhood. And he shall have powers over the treasures of gold and silver and over all the precious things of Egypt, the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood is contemplating tearing down the pyramids, right? The precious things of Egypt. Maybe not precious to God, but precious to the Egyptians and to the archaeologists, etc., etc. And it says the Libyans are also involved in this. And what happened with Libya? Libya was taken over by the hood, right? And then it says the Ethiopians shall be at his steps. It says he won't take them over necessarily, but they'll be at his steps. Well, in the news today, Somalia borders with Ethiopia, and the blog called News from Somalia.wordpress.com. They cover all the news out of Somalia. The headline today is Obama renews sanctions against Somalia despite new government. So Obama is in Somalia messing around, trying to stir things up over there. So that means Ethiopia is at his steps today. So here we have Bible prophecy unfolding before our very eyes. And we look at this stuff, and it does appear that, who was it that said, let's have a look here. There was a U.S. senator, and I believe Lindsey Graham, that's who it was. Lindsey Graham said today that a major war will happen. We said this yesterday. A major war will happen in North Korea. with North Korea. So this thing is getting ready to just explode. North Korea will be wiped out, perhaps even become united with, here it is here, Lindsey Graham predicts a major war with North Korea. Perhaps we'll see a unification between the North and the South, because that war never really ended, folks. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but that war never ended. The North and the South, that war never ended. There was a ceasefire, and that's it. That war is still ongoing. And in fact, last week, Kim Jong-un, the man-child who's running that country now, perhaps with his aunt's help, according to the latest out of there, if he gets toppled, and he ended the peace, the ceasefire last week. He ended that. So now he's massing missiles, and he's loading them into the launchers, and things are getting ready to blow up over there. And the Bible, written thousands of years ago, has predicted that all of this would happen. The Libya, Egypt, Somalia, North Korea, all of that was predicted in the Bible. Now listen. The sixth trumpet, if you go and you watch our trumpet videos, the sixth trumpet is imminent. It is going to happen soon. It will involve 200 million men and will emanate out of the Euphrates River. This thing with North Korea is a giant distraction to buy time for the Iranians to get ready to launch an all-out war against Israel and the United States. And the EU announced yesterday that talks with Iran on their nuclear program have failed. They have failed now. But you see, you don't hear much of that because the North Korean thing is taking up all the headlines, right? North Korea is a distraction to allow Iran, which is in cahoots with North Korea, and they're all working together here to wipe out the great Satan, the United States. They all want the same goal. They may not like each other, religiously and ideologically, they don't agree. But on this goal, they do agree. America must be defeated so that dictators can come in and take the spoils of the Americans. That is the goal here. And the Iranians and the North Koreans are working together toward that end. They're sharing intel on nuclear technology. But this was all predicted thousands of years ago in a book that so many people mock. And here we have prophecy coming true, leaping out of the pages of the Bible and into the newspapers and the web news sites, including ppsimmons. Visit the blog, ppsimmons.blogspot.com. We have streaming news that is being put up there by our researchers all day long. And get on board with that. I mean, the end time is not coming. The end time is now. Now, is Barack Obama the Antichrist, the abomination of desolation? Could be. We're not coming out and confirming that yet. We may be soon going to do that, or soon going to not do that. We haven't been given a clear direction on that yet. I mean, so many people have been derailed because they've named one person or another. So we're not going to fall for that. We're not going to let certain powers derail us like that. We're just reporting, and you guys get excited because as the reports come in, it looks like Jesus' return could be sooner than any one of us could even imagine. So there's the latest on North Korea. Don't be too worried about this stuff, folks. Unless, of course, you deny the truth of the Bible, deny that Jesus is Lord, and you've never been saved. If that's the case, we suggest that you get on board with that. Give your lives to Jesus Christ. Be born again, and be adopted from Satan's earthly family into God's family. Because at the end of the day, when you read the end of the book, the winner is clear. You've been listening to PP Simmons Radio.